Determine the circumference of the circle to the nearest hundredth. The circumference of a circle is equal to 2 pi r, which equals pi d, where r is the radius of the circle and d is the diameter. So we want to use the given information in order to determine the radius or the diameter of the circle, which we can then use to find the circumference. So looking at the given information, notice how this segment has one endpoint at the center of the circle, and then it intersects this chord at a right angle, and therefore this perpendicular segment bisects this chord, meaning it cuts the chord into two congruent segments. So the segment on the left is congruent to the segment on the right. So if the total length of the chord is 9 centimeters, the length of the segment on the left would be 4.5 centimeters, and the same for the segment on the right. This is also 4.5 centimeters. Now from here, because these two segments are perpendicular, notice how we can form a right triangle, where this segment here would be the hypotenuse of the right triangle. But notice how this is also the radius of the circle. So if we can find the length of this hypotenuse of the right triangle, it will give us the radius of the circle. So let's label the hypotenuse r. And also notice how we know the lengths of two sides of this right triangle, and therefore we can use the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of the hypotenuse, which again will give us the radius. Where the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the lengths of the two legs, the legs of the two sides that form the right angle, so this would be one leg, this would be the other leg, and c is the length of the hypotenuse, which is the side opposite the right angle, and also the longest side of the right triangle. So let's let a equal 3, b equal 4.5, and c equal r. And let's use the Pythagorean theorem in the form c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So again, c is the length of the hypotenuse, which is r. So we'd have r squared equals a will be the leg that has a length of 3 centimeters. So we'd have 3 squared plus b will be the leg with a length of 4.5 centimeters. So we'd have 4.5 squared. So we have r squared equals 3 squared is 9 plus 4.5 squared is 20.25. So we have r squared equals 29.25. Now algebraically, we would have both a positive and negative solution for r, but because r is a length, we're only concerned about the positive solution, so we'll take the principal square root of both sides, which gives us r equals the square root of 29.25. Now that we know the length of the radius, we can determine the circumference of the circle, and we'll leave the radius in this exact form, and then we'll round the circumference to the nearest hundredth. So the circumference is equal to 2 pi r, or in our case we have 2 times pi times the square root of 29.25. And now we'll use the calculator to get our decimal approximation. We have 2, and then pi, and then times the square root of 29.25, right arrow, enter. To two decimal places, this would be approximately 33.98, and the units would be centimeters. I hope you found this helpful.